It's the Geek Show.
My island.
Muir Island.
No, Muir Island.
Oh, Muir Island. Oh,
Muir
I meant
Island.
my island. Okay.
Well
All right.
played.
I was going to say Gilligan's Island. Maybe.
I have an appointment with Moira X.
Yeah. On this episode of Geek Show. And it's way different from Love Island. I know that. Geek Show.
I thought you were just saying that every X-Man is an island.
Yes.
It's also very different from the Isle of Lucy.
But not too different from the Isle of Dr. Moreau.
I see what you did there.
Oh, he knows his islands. He's Lee George Cade, everybody.
Pleasure to be here.
Let's see. Oh, Tony. Hi, Quad T. Too Tall Tony is here as well.
Hi, Tony.
Hi. Geek Show Arcade, Geek Show Help Desk.
All right.
Are we plugging things?
Ka-chow.
Sure. Plug. That's,
Yeah.
plug away.
Geek Show Tabletop soon.
Soon.
And this time I'm not teasing.
This time it's for real.
All right. Looking forward to it. I have a feeling that Robert will have something to do with that as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
To play.
And Rebecca Frost is here as well. Hello.
Hey, big news, newly minted member of the Utah Film Critics Association.
Wow.
So now you have to take my reviews seriously, everybody.
I refuse.
I already took them seriously.
I thought your Huh? Go ahead.
I would say that Rebecca, she's going somewhere.
I thought your motto, Rebecca, was I won't belong to an organization that would allow me as a member. I thought that was your motto.
Yeah, I know.
And hey, let's not forget our host.
Mr. Kerry Jackson.
Monday through Friday, 6 to 10, x96.com. I'll never be a member of that guild because the movies happen at night. And,
Nothing happens for Curry at night.
You can watch movies anytime.
all
What
right.
about the Lollipop Guild?
Hey,
What about
is
the
that a
lollipop?
short joke? Is that?
Hey, if anybody's going to make a short joke,
If anybody's
it's going to be me.
Rob's allowed.
Yes.
Are you a
Diminutive
small
person?
statured person?
Have you not met Rob in person, Lee?
No, because I have this
It's been
strange
years.
thing. Like I remember people by the impression they make on me, and he's always been a giant to me. So
Good call. Good
yeah.
catch.
What?
There you go.
Nice.
yeah,
Nice one.
Well done.
but it's also Tony and I live in this stratosphere where
That's true.
sometimes the office
Everyone
is so
is.
light. That, yeah.
What's the weather like up there?
You know what's weird is living as tall as I am for as long as I have been, everyone just is normal to me. I don't notice people are shorter than me until I think about it.
Oh.
You know what
Do
I mean?
you guys play basketball?
That takes skill and coordination, which I only have like for painting and drawing.
And Rebecca, white guys can't jump.
You know what? I can attest to that.
My
They
poor
don't
wife
have to jump if they're so tall.
I've tried many times, and that paper I can never pull that paper out from underneath my shoe when I jump.
My poor wife thinks anybody under 6 feet is short. So she'll be like, yeah, he's just a little guy. It's like, he's 5'11", Rachel.
Ladies, or I guess partners, if you have a partner who's taller than you, do that thing where you put your phone and face the camera to where your partner's eye height is so you can see what you look like to them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Uppies. Like, if you ever
Uppies?
want to feel just like so dehumanized. Uppies, please. Like, that's what you look like.
Oh, the day my wife realized that I hide all of the Christmas presents on top of shelves and the fridge and stuff like that because no one else can see there.
Yeah. I never saw the point of jumping myself. Anyway, I mean, at all.
It's overrated.
It is. Let's talk about, I know Tony's excited, the Fallout trailer. We got a new one.
Baby, this is
so
good.
freaking good.
I
Good
myself
trailer.
have played New Vegas as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. So it's on
That
Prime
Brotherhood
Video.
of Steel armor just
Amazon released a new trailer. Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy's take on a Fallout.
A Fallout.
A Fallout.
I think this is going to be the best video game adaptation of all time.
That's
and
a bold statement
I don't know,
after The
Last
Last
of
of
Us
Us
was
last
really
year.
good.
That's true.
Oh, I
Yes.
forgot. That's just so good that I forgot it was based off a video game.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll happen. Let's see. So it's an inhabitant of the mysterious numbered underground bunkers, social experiment chambers built to withstand a devastating thermonuclear war, Lucy, who leaves the confines of Vault 33 to brave the wastelands left behind, and she meets all kinds of crazy, wacky people upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're using, of course, the ink spots. I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire, a song I recall from late nights at Bill and Nada's having brains and eggs.
They had the best jukebox because they were at every table, but
Yes.
ink spots feature very prominently in Fallout. Like not just that song. Like
Oh, good.
almost
Because
every ink spot song.
there's Fallout radio you can listen to,
Yep.
Oh,
and I
A
love
bunch
it.
of old timey stuff.
but yeah, go take a look at this. It starts April 11th, so pretty soon.
It's our
And
first
all
look at the West-
episodes. All episodes drop at once. Yep.
Really?
It's our
Oh,
first,
bad
first
idea.
look at the West Coast and the Fallout universe too.
Mm.
And they did Utah, they did parts of Utah, they did Nevada, they
Nevada.
did Boston.
Yeah. And Washington,
And-
D.C.
Yeah.
What's the name of that mech? The mech suit? Is he have a name? Who is he?
He's wearing a Brotherhood of Steel
Brotherhood of
armor.
Steel. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They call it
and-
power armor.
He doesn't look a damn
They're-
thing like Shaq. What are you talking about?
They are religious fanatics and
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah. Or
'Cause
no,
that
not
was-
religious fanatics.
They got like philosophy fanatics, I guess.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
I loved the look of that armor.
They got
Oh, and Carrie,
zeppelins.
if they get to the who are the guys that took over Vegas based off of Caesar's Palace?
Oh, the dang it, what was their name? I
know.
forgot.
remember.
But yeah, they have
It
a
was so
whole
long ago.
they have
the
a whole
Mormons.
ancient
The
Rome.
Mormons.
Oh no, they're still around too.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have a whole ancient Rome vibe going on. The ones that took
Yeah.
over Caesar's palace and everything.
Yeah, they're all
It's-
wearing Legionnaire armor and
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's-
that's
I
what
would
they are. The
call them
Legionnaires.
Centurions at that
They're the
point.
Legionnaires.
yeah.
No,
Oh,
those
there
are
you
the
go.
Legionnaires.
All right.
Which side? That's
I'll
it.
watch the show and learn with all of
We're
you.
gonna love it. I'm gonna hold my own hands and cry.
All right.
Fallout is so cool.
Let's get some quick housekeeping, and then we'll get to the rest of the news. Of course, our Patreon. Or no, let's start with Lee. Lee's had a rough week. He didn't have to go back to the hospital, luckily, but he did
This
have a
close.
rough week. Yeah, it was very close. And if you can help out the Cades with all the medical bills, we're coming up on that 1 million mark. I mean, their bills, not the money that you've donated.
Yeah.
But thank you for all of the money that you have donated. Go to our social medias. It's right there. Use that Venmo QR code, and it directly goes right to the Cades. No
And
middlemen, no stuff taken
it's-
off the top or anything like that.
Staggering how generous people have been. So thank you. I don't talk about it too much because I get emotional and people get sad when I cry.
So help the Cades out. I'm donating a box of Frankenberry. That's how
Priceless.
priceless. All right. And of course, our merch, geekshow.store. We're going to be, we love seeing stuff out in the wild. It's some good looking merch. I really, really love this logo. And it looks great on the hoodie, I think. That's where it really shines, is the hoodie myself.
Yep. And
so-
we're seeing pictures of the hoodie from around the world now.
Oh, really? That's right.
We are indeed.
Yeah.
Wear
We
them
got a-
out.
We got a picture from one of the last pieces of the Berlin Wall posted on the Geek Show fan account on Facebook.
Oh,
So,
there you go.
I'll look
So
that up real
geekshow.store for that. Also, our Patreon, where you can get secret stuff, including, I hear, coming soon, something from Lee and Robert
yeah.
in the Patreon?
Yeah, we're going to follow Rebecca's queue and post it early on Patreon and then a week later on.
On the feed.
Yeah.
But you can see our after party exclusively there. Hear it there. There's a podcast version if you don't want to sit and look at our beautiful faces. Videos and extra content all found there at geekshowgotthiscovered.com is the quick link to our Patreon. And yeah, we do another show right after this show on our Patreon. So go join. Do it. All right. Let's see. People are loving this Avatar: The Last Airbender. No, wrong Avatar.
That's
Wrong
that's the
Avatar,
blue
you
ones.
guys. Save that for later. I have that Avatar news coming up.
It's
but
this Avatar. It's
this one here.
So you're saying after the neckbeard knee-jerk reaction phase passed, people
Yeah.
actually came forward and started saying, yeah, it's fun.
People say
Oh,
it's so
yeah.
good that
Yeah.
that Netflix has renewed it for 2 more seasons, and that will be it. So you'll get 3
Good.
seasons of
all
the
3
live
books.
action.
Awesome.
I was
Yeah.
going to say,
Yep.
yeah, I think there were only 3 seasons of the cartoon, right? Yeah, so.
Of that one, I think
3 or
that Korra had.
Well, then
2.
you had Korra, yeah.
But you know,
Yeah.
if they do Korra, I would be totally
Korra
down
would
for
be
that
cool.
as well.
Well,
Korra's
they're going to
way cool.
outage the kids, and that's you
true.
You can't have
Yeah.
24-year-old Aang fighting the Fire Lord.
How old
I don't
was-
know.
How old was Michael
Things.
Lee?
Stranger Things begs to differ.
So does Back to the Future.
Since the show's debut, it's check last week, it was 4.1 million views, 41.1 million views.
Oh, great.
So that's huge. So
Well,
yeah, you're getting 2 more seasons of that.
On IMDb, it's sitting at a 7.3, which for IMDb, that's pretty
pretty
high.
high.
Solid.
Yeah,
that
especially
is.
considering how many bot accounts are out there
Yep.
with an
Oh,
agenda. But here's the thing: it's not revolutionary. It's not going to change your life, but it's going to introduce a whole bunch of people to a really cool IP.
Yep.
Because the animated series is over 20 years old now,
Yeah,
Oh,
can you
God.
believe that?
or about 20 years old. So great animated series, really fun, very faithful live action adaptation. There is nothing that's going to ruin your love of the original from watching this.
All right. Next, okay, well, we got to address this. Cerveza Cristal!
I had no idea what this was until I stumbled across the explanation yesterday on Reddit.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck is
For those who are just seeing it and not wondering what it is, they just think that it's the internet being the internet.
That's what I thought at first, too.
When the original Star Wars movies were dubbed by TV broadcasters in different countries in the early aughts, a Chilean ad agency, OMD Santiago, they came up with a plan for Cristal beer. They convinced broadcasters to run in-movie advertisements for the beer so that you didn't have a messy edit or a regular ad break. Instead, you got in-character moments, like Obi-Wan opening up the chest in his homestead to reveal not just Anakin's lightsaber within, but a refreshing complete with the jingle.
Okay, hold on. I'm a little disappointed now that I think about this because Colt 45 and Lando missed an opportunity here.
Oh, they sure did, didn't they?
Oh, man.
Let's see. So, but these are real. They checked with the Chilean people to see did they air not just in Star Wars but across several major films in 2004. This ad agency won a major advertising award.
Is he gonna pour out the
this.
beer?
Lucasfilm was not
my
happy about
goodness.
this at all.
Oh, I
There
bet
was
they
nothing
weren't.
Oh,
they
I
could
can't
do.
imagine why.
Cerveza Cristal.
The only thing keeping the shields around the Death Star was that bottle of beer.
Well, I was going to say, what we're learning here is Obi-Wan is an old drunken hobo.
Yeah.
So now we know, but now we know where Lando
Enjoy
learned
a
it from.
cerveza cristal that doesn't make him an alcoholic.
Look,
He's the
guy-
only
the guy
one
had
in the
some-
show that pulls it out of nowhere all the time.
There's a I don't know if it's in this YouTube video, but there's a scene from Empire Strikes Back that has actors that it has actual production value that adds
Oh yeah,
to the movie.
they did the Emperor's hand in one of them, and he had the
that's-
robe,
If
and,
they didn't-
and the
if they
skin
didn't
was
have-
all white and everything. Yeah.
If they didn't have Wilro Hood stop and open up the bucket,
Oh, Wilro Hood should have brought the Cristal.
yeah, 'cause look,
Amen.
Yoda hid
No,
this
Lando
in
should have had
Dagobah.
it on the table when Darth Vader had Han and everybody come to dinner. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Works every
should
time.
have been in bowls
So-
of ice on the table.
there
So
you
if
go.
you're listening on the podcast and not watching this, go to YouTube and search all Star Wars Chile beer ads.
Amazing.
And there's a smash cut of all of them.
Oh, here he comes. He's
goes.
gonna summon it.
And he uses the force to bring it to him.
Cerveza Cristal. I gotta make that my
Your
text
ringtone.
tone or something. It's gotta happen. Anyway, so there you
The
go.
best.
And
goodness.
and the best meme I saw about this online was Marty McFly and the words underneath him from the closed captioning. It said, "Well, I can tell you guys aren't ready for this, but your kids are gonna love it." Because there were complaints in the 90s from people watching the Star Wars movies. Naturally, there would be. Of course, they're Star Wars fans. There were complaints, but now, later, we have learned that this is a wonderful, crazy, wonderful thing. All right, let's see. Let's talk about some Disney stuff, Star Wars and Disneyland stuff. Let's start with Disneyland. What's cool about Star Tours is that it can easily and quickly be updated, and in my estimation, not updated quickly enough.
Yeah.
They stayed with the original ride a little too long for me. But then they started adding more and adding more footage, and now they're adding even more. We're adding Ahsoka, Andor, and The Mandalorian and Grogu, all on this Star Tours ride. Everyone here's ridden Star Wars or Star Tours, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Y'all know what it is.
16 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
only
flight.
thing that-
It's a flight simulator. So you're
It's a
essentially
good
being
one.
being shaken
fun.
around watching a movie, and it's a lot of fun.
And if you go in the back, you're going to get your head knocked off.
The back is the best place to be.
So
Yeah.
there was a tweet that I saw that summed up my reaction perfectly. Mandalorian Star Tours, help me get chicken nuggets for my son. Ahsoka Star Tours, will you help me and these space whales find our friend? Andor Star Tours, are you ready to give up all chances at inner peace to make your mind a sunless place to share your dreams with ghosts?
Wow. That escalated
Yeah, I think-
quickly.
I think the Andor one's going to be very dramatic. All right. But
Planning for a sunrise I'll never see.
this is starting on April 5th. So a lot of people are on spring break at that time. But that also coincides with the Season of the Force annual Star Wars celebration at Disneyland. Runs through June 2nd. And so
I
have some
only
Star
have
Wars.
one little tiny nitpick with the new Star Tours stuff, and it was last time we were there, they had stuff from Force Awakens, and it was great.
Yeah.
Like I was so happy to see Poe escorting the
Oh, yeah.
cruiser, and then it cut to another scene, and then we came back, and it was something from Return of the Jedi, and it was just like
Yeah, they started shuffling them.
keep it together. I want to keep flying with Poe, or I want to keep. And that's just me being nitpicky. My kids didn't care; they thought it was fantastic. But
Yeah, they've started shuffling it, and the idea being is that the more you ride, the different combinations you get. That's
Right.
That's their whole thinking. So, anyway, there's that. Also, Disneyland news. Now, I've been to Disney World where they have the Avatar land, and
Oh,
you know
so I should
it's
go back.
it's really cool. I have to say, and especially if you were a fan of Avatar, it's doubly cool. And honestly, the Avatar riding on the back of the flying bug ride that I rode, that was like the best ride that I rode at the park. It was really cool. It's a flight simulator you're on kind of a motorcycle kind of a thing, but it makes you feel like you're on the back of those flying
Bird
dragon
things.
bugs or whatever they are. But Bob Iger, speaking today, or this week, excuse me, at the Q&A at the Morgan Stanley Technology Media Telecom Conference, said that, the reason this is news is because this is the first time he used the word land. He said, we're going to have an Avatar experience. You know, he's been talking about it, but this is the first time he said land. So my guess is they're just going to open up, Avatar Flight of Passage. That's the ride that I was telling you about. There's also the Navi River Journey boat ride. Now, this is all in Florida, but this could happen.
is that going in on the old Deliverance ride?
See, here's the thing. I don't know where they're going to be able to put this in Anaheim.
Unless they rip out more. I mean, we already lost the
They'll figure it
Lancelot Inn. How many more CDs 1950s motels are we going to lose to Disneyland?
But anyway, so but they've got a plan. They've got an expansion plan that they're talking with Orange County about. I get the occasional Orange County Register news bulletin.
Maybe they're going to build down into the ground.
There you go.
I think they're talking about just completely taking out, because they did have some employee buildings there for a while.
Yeah, you don't need those.
Oh yeah.
Rip
And
those
Agent-
out,
Forget the employees.
Nah.
The last time I was there with Agent Z, he said that a lot of the newer rides were actually being built underground. You just didn't know. Like
Oh, really?
A
Oh, I
good
was
chunk of
joking.
the Indiana Jones ride is actually under the parking lot.
That is true. Yeah, it goes under a road. I think to the other
Yeah.
side, right?
Yep.
Anyway, so there's that. Back to Andor. We've got physical media, as I keep yelling about.
Hey, look.
We're getting Blu-rays of the Disney Plus shows.
We're getting what?
More of them. Yeah, Blu-rays.
$50.
Oh,
$50.
Blu-rays.
Blu-rays.
Okay.
Blu-rays.
Blu-rays. So you're getting The Mandalorian season 1 and 2. You're getting Loki both seasons. WandaVision. This was all last year. This year, you also got Obi-Wan on physical media last year. This year we're getting, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Moon Knight also receiving the same day. So we're getting the complete series, Obi-Wan, Andor, Falcon, Moon Knight, all complete for seasons. Now, it's interesting how they describe these, because they describe Obi-Wan as the complete series.
Oh, like
Good.
no
I don't want
second
another season.
Oh,
they also,
I like
uh,
that.
But
Yeah, you're
But
you're in a-
Andor,
you're in a
Falcon-
small minority there. Rebecca.
Andor, Falcon, and Moon Knight are the complete first season. Take that with what you will. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
especially since they're shooting whatever they're calling New World Order at this point, and I can't see them going movie series with Anthony
With-
Mackie
no, probably
and
not.
company.
But there you go. Anyway, March 12th is when all those will be coming out. You can pre-order those. Bob Iger also said, I've killed a few projects, honest, I swear.
He's killed a few
That-
people.
he
too.
said that?
Yeah.
Here's what he had to say. You have to kill things you no longer believe in, and that's not easy in this business because either you've gotten started, you have some sunk cost, or it's a relationship with either your employees or with the creative community. It's not an easy thing to do, but you got to make those tough calls. We've actually made those tough calls. We've not been public about it, but we've killed a few projects already that we just didn't feel were strong enough. Kevin Feige would like a word about his Star Wars movie.
We're better at keeping it a secret than Warner Brothers, is what he's saying.
That's
You're
exactly.
saying the quiet part out loud, my guy.
That is exactly what he is saying.
You notice just the way it's worded, though. There's a little implied menace of, "And I'll kill you too."
Exactly.
I felt
And
it.
we're not done yet.
You know this guy has receipts on everyone.
I'm sure he does. Hey, if you've been to Disneyland, you know their security is above like Fort Knox level. It's crazy. Anyway, he was also asked about superhero fatigue. And he said that a lot of people thinks it's audience fatigue. It's not audience fatigue. They want great films, and if you build it great, they will come.
Yeah.
Iger said, focusing on excellence and respect. Focus is really important. We reduced the output of Marvel, both number of films they make and number of TV shows, and that really becomes critical. But I feel good about the team. I feel good about the IP, and the track record speaks for itself. He went on to say that he thinks that Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be one of their most successful films.
Wow.
It's the
Yeah.
only film you get this
I
year.
don't doubt that.
Yeah,
I mean, Deadpool's the most worn costume at Comic Cons.
that's
You
true.
know.
That's
But
true.
also, like, would he be saying that if the trailer also didn't hold the record for, like, most viewed trailer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
True. All right.
Do you ever
He
get
also,
the vibe? Do you ever get the vibe that Disney pulled a new Coke on us with their CEOs? They had Bob Iger, and then they brought in Bob Chapek to make everyone hate him, and then they brought Bob Iger back to be like, see how good Bob Iger
And Warner
is,
Brothers.
actually?
Warner Brothers is trying that. They're just not quite clever enough to pull it off.
Classic Warner Brothers.
Yeah. Oh, look at us. You're gonna hate our new CEO forever.
All right. Let's see. He also said that he saw the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie, and he said it's going to be huge. He said it's really quite good. And
Is that a
that's all
Disney?
that is
I thought
now
that-
Disney.
It's part
Here's
of Fox.
the thing.
Oh,
Here's the
part
thing.
of Fox.
So
Okay.
I got like a press email about like upcoming Walt Disney Studio releases, and on that list was the first Omen.
Yeah.
The Omen,
Yes. Damien
which
Thorne.
to me confirms Damien as a Disney princess.
Well, Ripley from the Alien movies is a Disney
She's a
princess.
princess.
So
I
is-
thought. I mean, come on. There is a monarchy established in the Aliens movies. There's an alien queen, so all of her female offspring would be princesses.
Sure.
Ellen Ripley is actually the villain. She's the Gaston. She comes in, busts everything up.
No,
This is an interesting take.
Hunts like Ripley. No one sweats like Ripley.
No one shoots bugs full of holes like Ellen Ripley. Yeah, she's actually a
It makes
homicidal
sense.
maniac. Yeah.
I like it. All right.
Talks to animals, Jonesy.
Yes. Yes.
But she also talks to the aliens as well.
Yep. Okay.
Or at least, can just go like, nope, you're not going to do that now. They're like, we out.
Okay, let's see. We got some Superman news. Nicholas Holt was on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast called
Oh,
Inside of You.
Which is fun. If you haven't listened to it, it's a fun podcast.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
And here's what he had to say about his Lex Luthor. He says, I think the first ever Lex I saw was you, talking to Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville. I grew up on
His is a
Smallville.
good Lex.
I can't remember if it was on Channel 4 or Channel 5 in the UK, but like growing up, I was like 11 or 12, I guess, and so that was the show that I would watch and see my first iterations of Superman and Lex and all those stories. Since I've seen Richard Donner's movies and all other ones and kind of seen some of the other performances, but you're the one. I love your portrayal.
He's
It's
a
the
good Lex.
best. You inhabit him with such depth and charm and then ability to switch, which makes him dangerous and formidable and a great opponent. I love what you did. I have been working it out. There's a bit of All-Stars Superman where he talks about his muscles being real and like hard work and all that, and I took that little bit of inspiration as fuel for the fire for his Lex. So
Wait, did he see Jesse Eisenberg's Lex though?
Shut your mouth.
Don't
Don't make me come through the screen.
My biggest character flaw is that I will always have a crush on Jesse Eisenberg no matter what he's doing. And Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, I didn't hate it.
I kind of liked it personally. I did.
Well,
But-
it's been fun being a part of this podcast. I apparently have to go now.
I told you it was my biggest character flaw. But Michael Rosenbaum, like he's Smallville Lex, such a good Lex because
Yeah,
he
he is.
really like he's right. He's so complex. He has depth. Like he's just a really good character.
I'm amazed
Yep.
anybody can even remember him with John Glover's, with his dad, with Lionel Luthor on the screen, because that guy, that guy,
hair.
he was like a
The
stately lion.
He
Hair.
was, yes, a stately lion.
Okay, so I need to do a Lex deep dive really fast.
okay.
I really did enjoy Michael Rosenbaum's Luthor. Fantastic. I am a Gene Hackman Luthor, which crazy real estate guy, Lex Luthor. It's wacky, but 78 Superman is my thing, so deal with it. But I would argue that Rosenbaum's Luthor is second to me to Clancy Brown's Luthor
I was
Yes.
just
on
about
the
to say,
animated series.
Yeah.
Yes, 100% agree. Yep.
Because
Clancy
Brown
Brown's
had,
Lex Luthor was
he
amazing.
could turn on the charm. He could be the most charming, suave, debonair guy, and then be like, "And I need you to kill them when they're done doing the tour."
And I love
No
that Clancy Brown.
witnesses.
Clancy Brown's Lex was the scientist Lex, and that's my
Yes.
favorite kind of Lex.
I like
Lex.
Well-
I like that Clancy Brown has reached the point in his career where he just does cameos in movies where he gets killed almost immediately. But it's like Clancy.
So
Oh.
Tony now brings up a good point, though. Do we get billionaire businessman Lex, or do we get battlesuit Lex, or God help us,
Both.
do we get both?
I would love
Yeah.
both.
Probably
both would be
both,
great.
right?
Yep.
I'll
Because
bet
if there's
you
one,
both.
if there's one thing about James Gunn is he's gonna give you a villain where you're gonna go, yeah, okay, I can see
I
it.
see your point.
Pre-Suicide Squad, I would have said no, but that guy threw Starro in.
But also,
And he made
but
Starro
also,
good.
the
Yeah.
like the High Evolutionary, right? Like
Yeah.
pure
Yep.
evil.
Yeah.
But like you're still like, oh.
Any John Cryer Lex fans here? Anyone?
You know what? I was not on board with him, much like many people are like, why are you getting Michael Keaton to play Batman? Cryer did, for me, a great job for the CW series, Lex Luthor. And even if you look at him, not just in Supergirl, but the way that he portrayed it in the Crisis crossover, I was like, yep, he's good.
And finally, the guy from Walking Dead who played Lex Luthor as a crime boss type in
Cudlitz.
Michael Cudlitz on Lois and Superman and Lois, the most current one.
I hate to do it, but we do have to mention Kevin Spacey's Lex Luthor. Because I
Fine.
love Superman Returns. Superman Returns, I think, is my personal favorite Superman movie.
Honestly, yeah.
Listen, we can all agree he
Spacey's
sucks.
He
We can all agree
sucks,
he
but
sucks.
he was good as Lex. I have to say it.
Yeah,
I mean,
fair.
in general, as an actor, he's,
Yeah.
good.
He's not
Separate-
perfect as an
let's
actor.
separate. Let's
Begrudgingly.
separate the artist from the art.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
And let's see. Of course, again, if you follow James Gunn on social media, he's always there swatting down the rumors. There was a geek site that was going around saying that Elizabeth Debicki was going to be Wonder Woman in the new DCU.
Tall Wonder
And-
Woman.
Elizabeth
And
Debicki
James
was-
Gunn said no,
Oh,
it's not happening.
No.
No.
would have liked tall Wonder Woman.
And he even called out the site. He said this site lies for clicks. You know,
Nice.
that's-
Good for
that's
him.
and that's exactly right.
Well, and they, James Gunn, he also shared a picture of them shooting in, what country? Iceland? They were in some snowy country. They were somewhere where there's snow. So, like, it looks like they're
Norway.
filming.
Because he was,
was it
talking
Norway?
about the fjords for the fortress.
Oh, but they showed a picture. And I really like what they're doing because they're being so, not transparent, but sharing what they're
teasing
doing with this Superman
lovingly.
movie, and not keeping it like secret. Like it's gonna be secret, and you're gonna love it when it comes out. And if you don't, I'm gonna stick my bots after you.
It was like
But-
it was like the stuff we would see in Starlog while Empire Strikes Back was being filmed.
Yeah.
There's a callback.
Indeed. All right. Now, I need people who have read and seen Dune Part 2. Because let's try to figure out the character.
Seen it on a Monday.
Okay, so yeah,
Well, spoiler alert, Tony. Tim Blake Nelson's not in it.
yeah. Tim Blake Nelson was
Yeah, I saw these
completely
articles.
he was completely cut out of the movie, and he's not saying what character he was. And
He was a worm. He was
Do
a
you
big
think he was?
wormy.
You think he was a navigator?
I don't
No,
know.
the navigators
I don't
weren't
know
human anymore.
He says, I
Well,
don't
they
think
could
I'm
put
at liberty to
prosthetics
say
on
what
him.
the scene was. I'll leave that to Dennis if he wants to talk about it. I had a great time over there shooting, and then he had to cut it because he thought the movie was too long. And I am heartbroken over
2
that.
hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah, but there's no hard feelings. I loved it, but I can't wait to do something else with him. We certainly plan to do that. So people are speculating that he may have been Count Hasamir Fering, an assassin and advisor to the Emperor.
I don't know
Christopher
that
Walken?
character well.
So I don't think we'll ever find out because I just
Yeah.
saw a quote from Villeneuve where he said that he'll never release anything that's
No.
not in the final movie because if it's not in the final cut, it's dead.
Yeah.
So I
Wow.
think
Can you talk to Zack Snyder, please?
let's have a lot of talks with Zack Snyder.
Well,
Let's have like
speaking
a
of,
sit-down conversation with Zack Snyder.
we're going to be
I like
talking about
Snyder
Zack
cuts.
Snyder on the after party. We're going
Yeah.
to talk about Zack
Oh.
Snyder on the after party.
I
So
wish
join
we
us.
wouldn't. But
I'm really disappointed in you, Zach. I used to be a big fan.
All right. So
all,
that's,
all of these Zack Snyder haters coming around, I'm like, welcome.
Yeah,
welcome
where have you been all my
welcome.
life?
yeah, and that's why we're saving it for the after party. So that
Where have
can,
you been since Legends of Kahul?
You can join and talk smack about us in the after party, Snyder
Yeah.
fans. All right. We got to raise a glass to Akira Toriyama,
Yeah.
Oh man.
who is absolutely one of the most famous and influential manga artists of all time. He has died 68.
Manga,
Manga.
Manga.
Yeah, manga.
Sorry.
not MAGA.
No.
Did I say MAGA? Oh,
You said
did.
MAGA.
sorry. I was reading some news earlier. Sorry about that. Let's see. It was on. This,
Make Cyan great
Do you know
again.
why you did that, Carrie? It's because they announced, like, his death was announced during the State of the Union, and
That's
so everybody
what-
stopped paying attention to the State of the Union.
anyway, yeah, this is the guy who created Dragon Ball, and his art has just been so influential in the manga community. Got to be careful with that.
In the MAGA community.
Goku, Dragon Ball Z. I mean, you can name them all.
Hang on a second. I just thought of something. And Carrie, you just actually gave me a great crossover potential for this. What if all of our political debates were just like giant Dragon Ball fights?
Oh my god.
Boy,
now
if
we're
only
talking.
everybody wasn't octogenarians, you know?
So
I've
but
been
like
saying-
22.
I was just going to say, I've been saying for years that all political debates should be handled by Rochambeau.
You know, you read about Rochambeau and you realize what a great analogy that is.
He began.
The French General Rochambeau in the American
Yeah.
Revolutionary War.
He began writing and illustrating in the late 70s, drew the attention of editors of Weekly Shonen Jump, published his debut work Wonder Island in 78, created a string of series for the magazine over the next few years, including his first breakout hit, Dr. Slump, which made him a household name in the community. But then, yeah, he just kept going. Goku and Dragon Ball and all that stuff. So very influential artist. And if you see his stuff, you can spot it. Yeah.
You know
I
his
like
style.
Egg said a lot of video game stuff too. Chrono
Oh, yeah.
Trigger.
Chrono Trigger.
What was the other one? Dragon Quest. He had one that was exclusive to the Xbox 360 back in the day. Blue Dragon, I think it was called, or something like that. Anyway, yeah.
There is one problem
Prolific.
with if we were to settle any kind of political discourse with Dragon Ball Z style power-ups and stuff, is about 22 minutes into the third episode of the political discourse, Dr. Satan and his cat would show up and completely derail everything.
Mr. Satan.
He was. Oh, people are asking what he died of
68.
and how old was he? He was
He was
68.
young.
He wasn't
Yeah.
that old. Yeah.
He apparently fell and hit his head. It was blunt. some
Oh
sort
my
of,
God, my biggest fear.
Some sort of. That's what killed my mother. Yeah.
Oh my God, what?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh yeah. She was out helping Dad herd sheep.
Killed your mother.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Really?
The sheep reared up on her, and she fell back and hit her head on a piece of concrete.
That was awful.
Ah.
So that's how he went. That's why he was so young. Yeah.
According to Egg, the poop emoji was based on his design. His
Is that
greatest work ever.
Well, he is influential, isn't he? Anyway, and our final story. Why we're still talking to Dakota Johnson, I don't know, but here we are. She previously
She
hinted
got-
during, huh?
Oh no, she apparently got engaged to Chris Martin a couple of months ago.
Oh, was
That's
that
Oh,
right?
Mr. Coldplay?
Mr. Coldplay
okay.
himself, yeah.
So if she has a kid, that kid will be Gwyneth Paltrow's kid sibling.
Well, she's already stepmom to Apple and Moses.
Oh my, that's frightening.
I'm actually enjoying her lack of giving a shit right now.
I do too. I
Yeah.
like Dakota Johnson. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
The bummer thing about it though is she's allowed to get away with it because she's like a nepo baby squared.
Sure,
because
sure.
like not only are her parents, Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith. I didn't know until like a couple of weeks ago her grandmother's Tippi Hedren.
Yeah.
So like she just can get away with being so nonchalant, and not giving a
I
shit.
guess. But here's, now during the publicity tour, she was talking about how the script radically changed from what she originally read for Madam Web. But she is now feeling like she perhaps isn't the right choice for a comic book movie. It was definitely an experience for me to make that movie, she said. I had never done anything like it before. I probably will never do anything like it again because I don't make sense in that world, and I know that now. But sometimes in this industry, you sign on to something and it's one thing when you're making it, and then it becomes a completely different thing later, and you're like, wait, what? But it was a real learning experience, and of course, it's not
Who
nice to be a
flips
part.
off an ambulance?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's not nice to be a part of something that's ripped to shreds, but I can't say that I don't understand.
Sydney Sweeney is disavowing herself of that movie as well.
It's interesting because like I see Dakota Johnson getting a lot of crap from people for being open about this, but I wonder if Wyatt Russell were to come out and publicly complain about a project he was in, if he would get the shitstorm that she's
That's
getting
the
right
thing.
now.
I feel like I talked about this last week because like Rachel Ziegler comes out and talks about how she did Shazam 2 because she needed to get paid, and everyone's like, how dare you come out and say that? Like you should be grateful you
Well,
get to be in
hang
a
on.
movie.
Hang on, though. Sydney Sweeney did the same thing a couple of months ago in an article, and nobody jumped on her about it.
Yeah, they
Hey,
did.
do you want to know
It
why?
just-
Do you want to know why?
Let's hear it.
It's
Bosoms?
her
Is it
boobs.
bosoms?
It's the boobs.
Yeah,
And
but
you
she's not
think I'm
taken seriously
joking,
for
but
exactly
I'm
that
not.
reason. You see the comments on anything that's posted about her, they're just like, yeah, she only has 2 talents anyway. Like it's like you can't say anything without somebody saying something shitty about you.
And what sucks too is Sydney Sweeney. I have a ton of respect for Sydney Sweeney because she went to business school before she like started acting because she wanted to be able to read her own contracts and understand them. Like
Smart.
I have a lot of
Good for her.
respect for Sydney Sweeney.
I think she's great.
I
and
think
those
she's.
boobs.
I think she's.
What? Hey, wait a minute.
I'll say
you
this.
can do
Hey,
that.
wait a minute.
I guess you can do that because you have bosoms too.
She's great in Euphoria. I say that she's great in that show. She was not so good on Saturday Night Live. I don't.
Oh,
Here's
she
the
was,
thing.
but she was good in what's the White Lotus? She was good in White Lotus.
Yeah, because
too.
she got Emmy nominations for that and Euphoria.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about this later when I talk about what movies I watched. I really respect Sydney Sweeney. I really like her. I think she's beautiful. I think I think the world of her. I don't know if she can act.
Haven't decided yet, huh?
No, and I'll talk about it a little bit later. But
Okay,
that's
well,
kind of where I stand with her.
Let's move on to what we consume this week then, and let's start with Rebecca since we're on the topic. Let's go.
Well, before I talk about movies, I want to talk about a book I finished called Comedy Drama by Bob Odenkirk. It's Bob Odenkirk's memoir.
I'm a quarter of the way through it right now.
Did he read it?
It's fantastic. Yes, he reads it.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. It's so just sincere and humble, and it was a book I found myself really needing. It was so interesting to hear him talk about like 90s sketch comedy, right? And the 90s sketch comedy, alt comedy scene. But also it was nice to hear from somebody who was disillusioned with their time at Saturday Night Live because he was miserable at Saturday Night Live and didn't have very nice things to say about it. And I was kind of surprised at how much I needed to hear that.
I haven't gotten to that part yet. I'm excited now.
Yeah, it's really good. And then he, talks about his turns in dramatic roles and how he wasn't really expecting it, and how Saul Goodman just kind of fell into his lap, and he was really hesitant to accept the role of Saul Goodman. Just phenomenal, like really, really cool. He has a really nice chapter about his time working with Steven Spielberg and Greta Gerwig. Highly, highly, highly recommend. It was like an instant 5-star read for me. I finished my Oscars watch this week. I watched every single Oscar nominated film this week. If you have any questions about it, just let me know. I have a feeling in my bones that Oppenheimer is going to sweep the Oscars, and us Barbie fans are going to be really disappointed.
Here's the thing. I didn't like Oppenheimer as much as everybody else did. I mean, I thought it was good, but I'm not raving what a great film it was. I thought Killers of the Flower Moon was a better movie.
Yeah, I just think because of Hollywood's inherent racism, I don't think we're going to be as happy with Killers of the Flower Moon as we think we are. I do think Lily Gladstone's going to win for Best Actress.
Hold on a second. Inherent racism in Hollywood? Could you go back and can you give me a little more
we
on
want
that?
to type. We want to talk about it. Yeah.
I've not heard of this before.
And then 2 movies I watched this week. They're older because now I've finished my Oscars watch. I can kind of catch up on movies that I missed. So I watched Anyone But You, the Glenn Powell, Sydney Sweeney rom-com, based on Much Ado About Nothing by William Shakespeare. And the thing I hate that movies sometimes do is when they take an enemies to lovers trope and say, this is based on Much Ado About Nothing. And it's like, no, you cannot just have an enemies to lovers trope and say it's based on Much Ado About Nothing. You got to have more than that. It's a rom-com. Rom-coms are back, baby. This couple that had met previously, hate each other, go to Australia for Sydney Sweeney's sister's wedding, and hijinks ensue. This has all of the puzzle pieces of a good rom-com. Like all of the tropes are there, like tropical destination wedding, everyone's hot and rich, right? A killer soundtrack, misunderstandings. All of the pieces for a good rom-com are there, and it just feels like it's a pretend. Like we're just playing pretend. Like this isn't like a real rom-com movie. This just is like, hey, here's all the fun things that go into a rom-com, and we put them in a movie. But it doesn't quite mesh together. And this is why I think I came up with the whole thing about Sydney Sweeney, where I was like, I really like her, I really respect her. I don't know if she can act, because
maybe she's one of those actresses that needs the right director to really bring it out of them.
Like she was funny, and she was given funny opportunities, but the way that she performs is so deadpan. And you can get away with that in shows like Euphoria and White Lotus, where you're playing a snotty teenager.
That's true.
But if you are now in your early 20s and doing roles like this, I kind of feel like you need to give me more. Please, just emote a little bit more. I don't know. I gave it like a 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd because it felt like pretend. The other movie I watched was All of Us Strangers, which is Andrew Scott, not Pedro Pascal, Andrew Scott, Paul Mescal, in I didn't realize it was like a romance, like fantasy story. So Andrew Scott plays this writer who is revisiting some memories of his like familial trauma while also starting to date Paul Mescal. And it's a really tender, loving movie. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that. I was incredibly moved. It gets a little weird at the end, but I am so shocked it hasn't like swept the awards seasons, because best screenplay, Claire Foy is a supporting actress, and Andrew Scott for best actor. I don't know why they got snubbed as egregiously as they did, but I highly, highly, highly recommend All of Us Strangers. It's on Hulu now. I think I gave it 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Oh wow!
All right,
and that's all for me.
Okay, who's next?
I'll go.
Okay.
I didn't watch any random weird Hulu movies this week. Sorry,
Aw.
Rebecca. Next week, I promise, I'll do another one. But I started rereading Neuromancer, because of the Amazon announcement. Yep. So that's just a super cool book. I'm excited to dive back into that one. I'm about 3 chapters in. Abbott Elementary, started watching that because it's back. Yeah.
It was like this season or from the beginning?
No, from the new seasons. New season's back. It's like 3 or 4 episodes in.
Yeah. This new season is so funny.
It's great. I'm loving it. And then where'd it go? Okay, so like Lee, started rewatching the X-Men 90s cartoon because got to get ready for the new episodes. And man, Lee, you were right. There is not very many scenes that has the rogue booty like that apocalypse scene.
Some people just tune out when I start talking about keyframe animation. You know, Rebecca, I do listen every time you talked about Taylor Swift in the past. And I
What's
didn't
that
care.
supposed to mean?
I didn't care about Taylor Swift, but I listened because I care.
About you. So yeah, it's like that cartoon has some really cool stuff in it, like
keyframe art.
Yeah, like really good keyframe art. But it also, man, it has some just production quality that's like, oh boy,
And
that's
some
nasty.
inexplicable dialogue.
Yes.
And I love that Wolverine's the thing they tried to get away with is Wolverine's like catchphrase was, "I go where I want to go, bub."
Yep.
It's like that's your badass catchphrase. I go where I want to go.
Yeah. It's
I mean, it's a kid's cartoon. They can't go, I'm the best there is at what I do, and what I do isn't very pretty.
yeah, but I got to say overall I'm really enjoying it, and I'm sure part of that is the nostalgia glasses that I put on before I watch it. But
Yeah.
that being said, I still am having a really good time, and the themes that it's X-Men, so the themes that they try to cover are a lot for kids. You know what I mean?
Surprised with the amount of blood in it too.
Yep, a
Seriously.
fair amount. Yeah, and it just overall, I still think it's totally worth watching. IMDb has it scored at like an 8.7 out of 10. I don't think
nostalgia.
it
That's
deserves that.
nostalgia.
Yeah,
It's the same
but
people like the best theme song of all time. I'm like, it's literally one of the guys at Saban with a Casio keyboard. It's not that freaking great. They cranked it out in 2 minutes. He did it on
It's
his
no
lunch
Johnny
break.
Quest theme.
well,
That's
you
true.
know.
That's true.
I remember when we didn't have nostalgia filters. Oh, those were the days.
Those days were lame. And then we watched the first 2 episodes of Shogun on Hulu and FX. That's
Carl is asking if that's a remake of the TV movie from when we were kids. Yes, it is a remake based on the novel
James
by
Clavell.
I'm
James Clavell,
sorry.
thank
if
you.
it doesn't have Richard Chamberlain in it, I'm not watching it.
Lee, I thought of you while I was watching this. You need to give this a shot. It's
Apparently, it's amazing.
it's some
I've
wild
heard,
stuff.
I've heard nothing but amazing things about it.
I'm waiting for it to end so I can binge watch it.
There's some scenes in the first episode that are hard to watch though, for the graphic like violence in it, like crazy.
It'll be
There's
good
a-
to see Shogun with Japanese people in it.
Do you want
Yeah.
me to tell you?
Those are the
You want me to?
70s
Do you want me to spoil the most graphic scene so you
I
know to
read the
watch
book,
out for it
Tony.
if you want
No.
to skip forward when it starts showing up? No. Okay, I won't then.
all right.
And then
I want to be
no,
horrified in real time.
It is. And then last thing, I highly recommend this random show on Amazon Prime, The Second Best Hospital in the Galaxy. It is this
I
weird.
tried watching that.
You didn't like it? Really? So the first episode is definitely pilot style, but it hits its stride going into the second and third episode. It's like a cross between Rick and Morty, Futurama, and Grey's Anatomy. I think is. My wife and I had a hoot watching that. We watched the whole first season this last week, and I thought it was really funny. She thought it was really funny, and it's just it's weird. It's enjoyable.
I like weird.
all right.
Weird.
Who's next?
I'll go.
Robert, go.
So let's see. What have I watched this week? A while back, I discovered Ghosts on Paramount Plus.
Yeah,
and
Ghost is great.
Which
managed
one?
to-
The British one or the
the
US one?
the U.S. one. I've not gone back to watch the British one yet.
British one's great too.
Well then that I will watch that when we're done with this. But somehow I got my girls watching it, so now it's like what are they going to catch from from these conversations going on in the show? Unfortunately, it's all just going. And I'm like, but I am enjoying it. It's a fun 22 minutes. Just like I could just watch this and just be like. Started watching Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix, and I am quite enjoying it. I saw the scene that a lot of Katara fans were upset about with her finding the scroll or getting the scroll, as opposed to the character development they did in the TV show of how she got it, because she did some things in the animated series that they just kind of went, nope, we're not covering that. I'm like Lee said, it's not the same, and it's not going to ruin your experience if you were a big fan of the original. So that was that. Because I'm a guy of a certain age and remember the original show, and since new episodes have started airing, I'm watching SWAT, and I'm enjoying it because I am a police procedural fiend. So
I had the
it's just like,
What's your favorite? What's your favorite procedural?
NCIS?
honestly, it's probably Law and Order.
Oh, mine's
Probably
Lucifer.
Original flavor? Original flavor?
Original Law and Order. Although I do like SVU. Never really got into Criminal Intent though.
Yeah, mine's Lucifer.
Lucifer.
Yeah.
It's
that
a criminal
count?
procedural.
It is
yeah.
procedural. It is.
Yeah,
You're
it
not
is.
And I started thinking about why is this? And I remember as a kid growing up, I'd watch like cop and detective shows with my father, and that's the thing that's a through line for me now. It's like give me a good cop show, and I'm just like,
So
Like,
did you get in the Kojak
Beretta, Mannix.
Rockford Files,
Rockford
and
Files.
Quincy. Yeah.
Okay,
those
so
were the-
Quincy, oddly enough, my dad wouldn't watch Quincy. My stepmom, however, was just like, I'm here for it.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, I was always
yeah.
babysat by the elder members of my family, so it was like on Channel 13 in LA from noon to 5. It was all the old detective procedurals.
All those
So-
Columbos and everything like that.
I will even admit that last weekend, during a moment of weakness, I flipped on MeTV and there was Mannix, and I'm just like, I guess I'm watching this now. Okay,
Does
Yeah, I
Matlock count?
Kinda.
later.
kind of.
I gotta
But I
stay.
mean, I grew up in
I-
North Carolina, so it's always the Andy
Yeah.
Griffith Show for me.
I have to stay away from MeTV, otherwise I will get stuck. So I
And
don't.
That's the thing, yeah.
I don't go near it anymore.
Yeah. I also watched a movie called Red Cliff from 2008 by John Woo.
Oh,
It is a wuxia movie set in the Han Dynasty in like 208 AD. That also stars Tony Leung, who was Wenwu in Shang-Chi
Oh, yeah. He's
as a
awesome.
general. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it is the cut that we watched is 148 minutes. The original was done in 2 parts, and it's like 280 minutes of movie.
Holy moly.
Yeah, but I mean, it's epic. We're doing a wuxia run of movies now, so this was our
We need to talk
first
wuxia.
one. Huh?
We need to talk wuxia.
Okay.
yeah. Lee knows
Alrighty.
his. Lee knows his wuxia.
And despite not getting the fleshlight bucket, I did see Dune 2.
Did you see it in IMAX?
I did not see it in IMAX. I just
Okay.
went down the street here to the Cottonwood
I
theaters.
need to talk to somebody who's seen it in IMAX yet. I haven't.
Okay,
You did.
I am
You
willing.
did.
I am willing to see it again because I would love to see it in IMAX. It's just like one of these. I've got a couple of hours here. It's down the street. Go. So
I still
yeah.
say if you have the opportunity to see it in IMAX, even if it's not your first viewing, it's so worth it. Because
I believe it.
All right.
And for the comics fans, really quick, again,
Yes.
back to Superman 78. This is
Nice.
continuing the Metallo storyline. This is a still fun read. Vendetti has a really good take on the 78 Superman sensibility.
I'm here to
Miss
fight
Marvel-
for truth, justice, and the American way.
Yes. Miss Marvel Mutant Menace.
Oh, yeah.
Still co-written by Iman Vellani. This is
her.
a still fun, without quite as much of the drama as the rest of the Fall of X. But going back to the X-Men with Magic and Shadowcat and the return of Lockheed. I mean, let's just
Hey,
let's be honest.
Lockheed.
The return of Lockheed.
what they are doing with Kitty Pryde, right? Or I'm sorry, Catherine Pryde, right now.
Captain Kate.
They are literally going back to the early '80s where Wolverine trained her to be an assassin.
Well, Wolverine and Ogun, because she's gone straight Ogun on some people. I'm
Yeah,
just like,
she has. She has.
Wow.
'Cause there's a bit during Fall of X where she just takes down.
she's like, nope, I'm done.
and it's not you think about her powers and how badly she can mess somebody up if she decides, you know what, these guys don't deserve to live. So she's literally just phasing people into solid objects and leaving them. And
All right.
Yeah.
All right, then. That's Robert. Tony?
I went already.
No, it's,
You?
it's
Oh, no,
me.
it's Lee.
Yeah, it's
Lee,
Lee.
that's right.
It's
Sorry.
me. Speaking of Fall of X, I'm finally getting caught up with Immortal X-Men, which leads up to Fall of X. I did this good trade here.
Ooh.
The Kieran Gillen stuff is fun. I still have a soft spot in my heart for some of the older comics that started the new launch of X stuff, but it's all been solid. What I don't like is a lot of the crossover stuff that they threw into the Fall of X storyline, because you know what? The Wolverine and Ghost Rider storyline has nothing to do with any of it. You don't need to read it. So if you're following along in your Marvel Unlimited app to get caught up on those storylines, just read the titles you like. You know?
Yeah, because
So-
there's like something like 12 titles in all
Yeah.
in the Fall of X.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
a lot.
it's a lot.
I freaking love Uncanny Avengers. I love X-Force, your X-Men Red, X-Men Blue, X-Men. Those are all great titles. Read that stuff. The other stuff, just read it if you like a little bit of candy sprinkling on your Sunday. So, television-wise, feud, Capote versus the Swans. I hate Truman Capote with a passion. He's a terrible human being. I hate his
Yeah.
voice, and I have to say Tom Hollander's doing an amazing job playing Truman Capote. So I can only watch in limited bursts, even though it's fascinating and the cast is phenomenal.
But
So,
didn't you love him in the movie where he played the character Lionel Twain?
No, he gets the whininess down. The whole, I just want to get home and see what's going on with the television. It's just no world for a person as delicate as I.
Did you guys see the interview where Tom Hollander said that he got Tom Holland's paycheck by accident
Yes.
once?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Finally, we're going through our Coen Brothers Renaissance, and I actually blame Fargo the series for this.
Oh,
because
really?
They're just executive producers on it. So we finally finished Fargo season 4. Did not see the supernatural element of that coming on.
Yeah.
Where you find out that a slave ship captain is part of a family and has been following them for hundreds of years, and things go very horribly wrong if you mess with that family.
Yeah.
Brilliant
Yeah.
season. It's hard because it's the 50s and it's about a black crime family and an Italian crime family, and it just talks about inequality, and
Yeah.
it's kind of amazing.
Good
But,
stuff, though.
we watched No Country for Old Men for the first time.
Friendo.
And
Man, that's a good one.
You know, when the Coens don't Coen, but they Coen
Yeah.
instead,
Yeah.
it's really brittle. It's like their first movie, Blood Simple, was not a funny movie. There is no humor to it at all, and that's No Country for Old Men. It's just, hi, we're going to beat you about the face and shoulders for 2 hours, and you're going to enjoy it because
And
Javier
with one of
Bardem
those
is so amazing.
air pressure murder devices.
Call
Oh
it.
yeah. This is what
Call
we kill
it.
cattle with, but
Yeah.
it's fantastic. Really good movie. Monarch: Legacy of Monsters on Apple. First couple episodes, I was just like, and then all of a sudden, I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
You're in.
It picks up, it takes off. Yep.
And you're
give me
in.
more. The anime series on Netflix, Delicious in Dungeon, caught up on that. Now I know how to cook Kraken. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
good.
X-Men animated series. It's so funny because Carrie and I and Robert, we were all adults when this show debuted, and so I
it's just
think
still
we-
just like
yeah, we still ate it up. But I remember watching it and going, God, if they had just put some money into this, you know, my eternal complaint about anything.
Budget.
And especially as an anime fan, we started seeing stuff coming out of Japan in the mid 90s that was mind boggling, like in 96 with Cowboy Bebop and a bunch of other stuff where they were just like, yeah, this is regular television animation. Suck it, American audiences. And but sometimes they did kind of play with stuff. But at the same time, are American kids so stupid that Storm actually has to narrate every power she has? I, Storm, mistress of the elements, summon a sleet tornado to wrap you up and tuck you into bed. So,
God bless
it's
you,
not
Lee.
like it's not like anybody else is doing that. It's not like Colossus is running in going, I, Colossus, shall work myself a little so I can punch things hard.
Concussive blasts from my eyeballs.
Yeah. And Rogue's not like, I'm going to get you, sugar.
No, she does say that.
Powers. Yeah, but they do. But they also
I'm
play
gonna
with
get you
stuff like
keyframe art, sugar.
they do, like Carol Danvers is in there, and they
Yeah.
do some interesting things. So it's still 98% of a shitty show.
Oh, come on.
I'm sorry. I agree
90,
with Lee on this one.
92 at most.
Yeah, I watched Hannah Gadsby's Gender Agenda, and I have one complaint. I thought it was a great idea to bring a bunch of queer comedians onto a show to do stand-up.
Oh, this
But
is
I've
new? Is this new?
I think it's relatively new.
Okay.
I've seen some of these performers before. They toned it down for Netflix. And it's like, if you're going to do
yeah.
really good comedy, do your comedy. Don't tone it down, you know. So it's still good, especially if there's a part of you that doesn't quite jive with gay people. Maybe give this a chance and realize that comedy's comedy and people are people, and that we all have room at the table. So
Exactly.
and then I should throw this out before I get to the last two things that I watched. My crime procedural show was Homicide: Life on the Street.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Hey, I
that's
grew
a
up
good
in
one.
Baltimore, so it's like I don't have to watch that.
That's a good
You
one.
guys should do a separate crime procedural
Podcast,
show.
yes.
The episode where Vincent D'Onofrio gets
Yes.
stuck between the car and the platform.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
find out he got cut in half, and they spend the whole
Yes.
episode talking to a guy who's just going to be dead by the end of the episode.
Yes.
And
That was
it's
a fantastic
amazing.
episode.
It's amazing. Okay, so the last
right.
two things. Last night we wanted to watch comedy. So talking about gay comedy, we watched a movie called Bottoms. which had
Oh,
me
I watched the
dying.
trailer for
Happy
this. It looked
International
funny.
Women's Day. I thought
That
it was best movie
movie-
of 2023.
I
I
have to agree with
Really?
you.
loved it.
I
Oh,
laughed
yeah.
my ass off. That movie
Okay.
is so funny. What's her name?
Io
Ra-
Edebiri and Rachel
Io Edebiri.
Sennott.
So funny, and just like this movie is like if all of the teen sex comedies of the 80s had actually been done from a gay woman's perspective, but with just a little bit of Heathers thrown in for fun. It's these two dorky girls who are committing the greatest sin of the 2020s, which is being gay and untalented. So
The
they-
untalented gays, please come to the office.
Yeah.
Looks like that's you guys.
And so they decide they're going to start a self-defense fight club, so they can convince cheerleaders to kiss them, and it just goes off the rails from there. So,
Marshawn Lynch improvised all of his. Marshawn
Yes.
Lynch, he improvised all of his parts, and two, this movie made him have a better relationship with his sister, who is gay.
yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
And it's so funny because his entire perspective on feminism changes on how he feels about the fight club.
One of my favorite parts is when he's teaching about the Holocaust. He's like, the Holocaust, it happened. And then the goth kid raises his hand. He's like, no, it happened.
It's so funny. It's 90
rules.
it's 90 minutes long, and it was one of the best comedies I've seen in at least a decade.
I'm telling you,
just-
this was one of my most favorite movies of
Yeah.
2023. It was so good.
It's so solid. And then Rachel didn't want to stop watching comedies, and so she was flipping through the comedy section, and she said, "Oh, I haven't seen this one yet," and started This is Spinal Tap.
I haven't seen that either.
Well, Tony, that's okay.
Well,
Did the heavens open and
Yes. Yes. My wife has a laugh that if anybody's heard when she's truly delighted by
Yes.
something,
Yes.
it's the greatest laugh in the world.
Yes.
And we're about 30 seconds into Big Bottom, and she's screaming at the TV, and that went on for the whole 84-minute runtime of the movie.
it's absolutely brilliant.
I'm amazed that at 42 years later, the Stonehenge scene still kills me, and it's only a minute long.
Yeah.
Tony, if you're ever wondering about where the term "it goes up to 11" comes from,
I did know that much at
Yeah,
least, that it's from
yeah.
This is Spinal Tap.
Oh, Tony.
I've seen this movie a dozen times, and I never got the Isle of Lucy joke
Oh, you really? Oh,
until last night. And he's just like, yes, drummer died. It was tragic. It was on an Isle of Lucy, and Rachel's dying. And I'm like, what's so? Oh my god, stupidest joke ever. And I didn't
Yes.
get it. So
here's the thing about before we move on. Spinal Tap. I just got to share this with you. When the movie was put out, all those years ago, I was working at all nights at a country station in Provo. I was watching MTV, and I recognized these actors. And they're selling it on MTV like this is a real band.
a real band.
This is a real band. Here is their video. And I'm like, no, that's that's from Lenny and that's the guy from Lenny and Squiggy,
That's
and I know
Uncle
this
Nick.
other guy too. He's on National Lampoon Radio Hour.
Yeah.
I knew all these people. That's Harry Shearer. He's on Saturday Night Live,
And Harry Shearer is so freaking funny in this. He's,
and so I knew it was a joke, but I went to a theater when it opened just before my midnight shift, and nobody else in the theater knew it was a joke. So they were all revved up, and so when the lights went down, you got people screaming, throwing up the devil horns, and yelling "rock and roll!" And I'm like, "Oh, this is perfect, absolutely
well,
perfect."
but that's what's so brilliant about it is that they all played their own instruments. They're all accomplished musicians. They're
Yeah.
all actually singing.
Yeah.
The songs are ludicrous enough to almost be real metal songs.
Exactly.
Like they're just this close, right?
Yeah.
And I was reading a thing that said it's the only band out there that's not part of the music industry, never actually put out an album, even though they put out an album.
Yeah,
because
it's a
the
soundtrack.
is the album, but they have nothing to do with the music industry and they're not a band, but they're a band and they had a top-selling album. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like this huge conundrum, and they're really, really talented. And it's kind of amazing because there's a couple times where you're listening to that and going, this kind of sounds like everything that we were making fun of during Peacemaker or the terrible metal
Yeah.
that was playing during that. So
Exactly.
It's-
Oh no! If I told them once, I told them 1,000 times. It's Spinal Tap and then Puppet Show. It's on the marquee. It's
Also, finding out that Christopher Guest is British was a smack to the head. I mean, he grew up in the States and in
He's-
Britain.
he
But he's
is,
also a baron.
yeah. I was going to say he has royal blood.
Yeah, he should
all
give
right.
it back.
He should. Anyway, anything else, Lee? Or is that was
No,
added?
I've taken 45 minutes of valuable time. Just
No,
rambling
it's
about
wonderful.
stuff on
I could talk about Spinal Tap all day. All right. Resident Alien Season 3.
Yay!
It's been perfect. It's been good. It's been really good. Finished Death and Other Details.
I have heard from a lot of different sources that they dropped out of that show about halfway through.
And
too.
it takes some twists after you guys left. It got good.
I love Mandy Patinkin and I hate the rest of the cast.
Well, I guess you can't get over that.
I will stay up late and watch it without my wife because she
It's,
just complains
it's one of
openly
those-
about the whole thing.
That my only regret was is that I didn't wait so I could binge it because I just wanted to binge it. So it's a show that deserves to be binged. Went back and rewatched Age of Ultron yesterday because Sue was busy doing something.
It's not bad.
And I think it's quite underrated, actually. I think it was dismissed, and it shouldn't have been.
But you get the Theta Protocol.
Yeah. There's a lot of great stuff in that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Agreed.
And then, of course, for International Women's Day yesterday, Sue and I watched Deadpool. So
and then
if you know, you know. All right. Games.
Oh yeah, that's a
That
thing.
part, yes. Unless you don't have anything. Yeah.
There's games coming
I
out
will say
this
there's
week.
so they did the new Spider-Man 2 stuff drops
The-
this week.
Yeah, the update with the new game plus and whatnot.
I
And-
haven't.
Oh, that I thought you had more to add.
There's apparently a part where you can shrink your player down to action figure size and
Yeah, for
go around
photography mode.
and take pictures. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Just get action figures, duh.
Well,
So
not
much
everybody
easier.
has amazing sets in their houses that they can film their action figures with, Rob.
Or just shooting other people's houses.
So we got let's see, a new Contra game. Contra Operation Galuga.
Operation Galuga?
Galuga.
Not
It's not
Galaga?
Operation Beluga.
Nope.
Because that's a perfect
Galuga.
opportunity for a crossover there, but anyway.
Operation Galuga. We have that. So this was announced a couple weeks ago. Star Wars: The Battlefront Classic Collection.
Oh,
So it's all the Star Wars Battlefront games from the late '90s, early 2000s, all
God
in
knows
one.
we can't make a new game.
And well, they tried. They made 2 new Battlefront games, and they weren't as good as the old ones.
For
Yeah.
me, the fun part of that game was the game that I created myself, which was I would go and hide, and I would be a sniper and just shoot everybody.
There is in the
There you
new
go.
Battlefront though. There's the scenes on Naboo where Darth Maul shows up, and they are actually terrifying.
Actually, you know what? Battlefront 2 had a pretty cool single-player campaign
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
I can't remember her name, but she was great in it.
Princess Leia.
Shark Fucko was the
No, it
character's
was.
No, that's
it,
Glup Shitto.
it was.
Glove
It was the
Shadow, sorry.
actress. It was the actress from the fantasy football comedy show that they named her.
The League. Oh,
yeah, the
Shiva.
lead- Yeah, it's the actress that played Shiva, Kamini, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh.
She was really good in the game. It's only like a 5 or 6 hour campaign, but it was really good.
All right.
Let's see. Hi-Fi Rush is coming out on PS5 on the 18th. That one is a big deal because it's one of the Microsoft exclusive games that they announced coming out on other systems. Everyone freaked out about. So, and just Hi-Fi Rush in and of itself is a really cool game. So, there you go.
No
That's
Jet
the end.
Moto 2.
It is not. You're right. They're very different.
Yeah. Because Jet Moto 2, you can jump your jet ski off of LAX.
Yep.
Because LA's underwater. Duh.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, thank you. I'm just like, wait, but
I wasn't sure whether he was blueberrying me or not.
No,
Nope,
seriously. The first
Hard to
time
tell.
first time I jumped my jet ski off LAX, I said, finally, my dreams have come true.
There you go. All right. Is that everything?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, let's head to the after party. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much. The after party begins here in a few moments. So give us a few minutes to go potty and that kind of thing. The Geek Show got this covered if you want to
I got a
join
roast
us.
in the oven. I got to
You do?
Yeah.
Roasted eggplant, maybe?
Big eggplant?
Big old thing of vital wheat gluten. It's all just like,
Huge.
Interesting.
Live long and prosper, bitches. Push the button, Frank.